Naja, also legen wir los. Heute kriegen wir dieses 3-Stunden-Interview hoffentlich durch. Ja, wir versuchen es. Let's go.
Something, probably the best phrase that I have adopted from you that has been like an umbrella for, or like a foundation, maybe a better way to say it, a foundation for how I discuss animal rights, is animal rights are a logical extension of human rights. Yes. I love that, dude. It's just so simple. It explains it so well, in such few words. But would you please elaborate on what that means to you?
Yeah, so everybody's familiar with the vegan society's
Wer meine Definition sehen will von Veganismus, Ausrufezeichen V in the chat.
definition. I think it roughly goes, veganism is a way of living.
Ja, ich habe da gestern drauf reagiert, aber guck mal, wir haben es nicht durchgeschafft, ne?
Which seeks to eliminate as much as possible and practical all means of animal exploitation, cruelty, and suffering for food and variety of other purposes like clothing. It's not a very good definition. There's a lot of vague wording in there, like what's possible, what's practicable.
Also wir haben gestern 2 Stunden den ganzen Stream gebraucht, um bis zu dieser Stelle hier zu kommen. Deswegen hier versuchen wir weiterzukommen.
What constitutes that? Does it mean, if you're suffering or starving, it's okay to kill and eat animals? If it's inconvenient for you, if you need it for your job, is it okay to kill and exploit animals? So it doesn't do anything to grant animals rights, which is kind of a strange definition to go by if you call yourself an animal rights activist. If you look at
also diese Interviews, davor haben wir auch ein Interview geguckt, die sind mega interessant, weil es geht sehr oft um Graubereiche. Um diese ganzen, sollte man Löwen erschießen, dürfen Tiere andere Tiere essen und so, diese ganzen dürfen Veganer auf Ameisen treten und so. Also schon ziemlich interessant. Und ich meine, das sind so, ja, ich meine, der hier ist Top-Tier-Debater. Nicht, was ist der Eigenschaftsunterschied? Ja. Schmeckt gut. Darf man Menschen essen, die schmecken? Nein. Widerspruch. Aber das Gesetz. Appeal to law fallacy. Du bist dumm. Ad hominem. Du benutzt auch ein Handy. Tu coque fallacy. Ihr tötet auch Insekten. Selbstmord-Redaktio. Ach, lass mich doch in Ruhe. So farmt man die Omnis. Naja, wo war ich gerade? Ja, genau, also der ist jetzt, ich würde sagen, der ist so, wenn 1 so die höchste Stufe ist, die man erreichen kann, dann ist er so 2. Und der hier ist, ja, ich glaube, der ist kein Vegan Debater, obwohl ich hier ein Video gesehen habe. I'm vegan, changed my mind. What the fuck? 3 Stunden. Also, ja, hat er bestimmt gut gemacht. Aber ich kann den nicht einschätzen, debattiertechnisch. Ja.
At probably the best framework for how we deal ethically, deal with each other ethically, or anything ethically, it's probably human rights. We have a very comprehensive human rights protocol with the law, the legal system, how we interact with each other on a daily basis. So the best way to protect animals and the way that we'd want to protect ourselves is with rights. That's why we have human rights. That's why we have a legal system. It's done the best job currently of preventing people from getting murdered, from things getting stolen, for improving our lives and protecting ourselves and each other. So this weird wishy-washy terminology of reduce as much as possible and practicable, that's not going to protect animals as well as giving them the same rights as human beings. We have the most comprehensive system of protecting ourselves and each other. So if we want to protect animals and we call ourselves animal rights activists, we should argue for that same sort of system for protecting animals. And since, again, humans have the most comprehensive rights right now, we should argue from a framework of granting the same human rights to animals.
Ja, das ist alles richtig, aber man kann sogar noch eine Unterstufe machen und sagen, wir sollten das Tierschutzgesetz, das für Haustiere gilt, unter anderem für Haustiere gilt, erstmal das ausweiten auf Nutztiere. Ich glaube, damit wäre schon der größte Teil sogar geschafft.
Totally, because we are also animals. They are similar beings with similar interests, and that's what it comes down to.
Was? Die Menschen sind Tiere? Erzähl doch sowas nicht. Was?
Why would we give them something? Why would we treat them different? That's what Name the Trade is. Why would we treat them so differently when they are so similar, almost identical? It's funny, like before I...
Was? Cherry und so, Sub, was? Zuckerinsel, vielen Dank.
Started seeing animals this way. Animals couldn't have been more different from me. a dog. I had nothing at all in common with a dog, and now there's almost everything in common with these other animals. But sure, there's differences. We have a very sophisticated language. We wear clothes. We have sophisticated technology that we've created, and whatever. But the things that matter, especially when we're talking about granting rights, is that they have interests that they want protected. They are sentient beings, conscious and aware of what's happening to them, and suffering is bad. So if they don't want to suffer, just like we don't want to suffer, getting stabbed in the throat feels just the same to us as it does to them, and it's extremely, extremely bad, right? So would make sense to grant them the right of not being stabbed in the throat, as an example.
Yeah. They have the same basic fundamental interests. They might not have an interest in, participating in the political system, but they do have the same basic interests of, having protection under the law to, not get abused, mistreated, killed, things like that. That's probably what you're most concerned with. And a lot of people kind of get tripped out about this idea of giving animals the same rights as human beings. Like, oh, so should dogs and cats be allowed to marry? Should they be able to vote? For one thing,
fucking Markus Rühl brain.
If we were to tomorrow grant animals,
granted dem Schwein hier den Zugang zum Bundestag. So eine Aussage zu tätigen muss schon so ein Markus Rühl sein, so ein Meathead.
The same rights as human beings, so and we do this to a ridiculous extent where they can vote. You're not going to see a dog show up to a voting machine and vote for Trump, so I wouldn't really worry about that. But the basic idea is to give animals the same rights if we were to trait equalize human beings. So if a human being were
deswegen ist in meiner Definition auch Trait equalized drin. Eigenschaftsangeglichen.
Trait equalized to a dog or a cat. We wouldn't give them a right to vote. The voting thing is kind of weird because we do actually grant voting rights to people who are severely mentally disabled. There's just some weird political baggage that comes along with that, but in concept, you wouldn't want somebody who's severely mentally disabled to vote because they're not mentally capable of doing so. They're not competent enough. But the idea is to give them the same rights that we give a human being where that were trade equalized.
Exactly. Yeah, they ain't gonna be like, cool, I've got the right to vote now. Who should I vote for? It means absolutely nothing to them. But they would really appreciate not being enslaved and murdered and turned into our ingredients. So
exactly,
it's pretty basic. We don't have to worry about them getting driver's licenses and shit like that. They ain't gonna pass a test. Don't worry, everyone. Driving.
If a dog could pass a driver's license test, why not give them a driver's license?
If a dog could drive well, if they in whatever world that would be, for sure. If they're competent as competent enough, but because they're not,
deswegen Trait equalized.
Don't worry about it, everyone. But they. That's not what we're talking. That's not really what we're talking about. But again, I think the way that you have really brought it about this logical extension from human rights makes it so easy, bro, for everybody to understand. Because, it's just name the trait. I love it. It gets the speciesism out of it. It's we need to give them these things. They deserve it. Why don't they deserve it?
Ja, und mit NTT, genau, umgehst du diese ganze Speziesismusfalle.
We shouldn't be fighting for why they do. It's obvious why they do deserve these rights. People need to make an argument for why they don't if they think they don't. And that's impossible to do unless you want to look as ridiculous as a racist person.
Yeah, any kind of violence has to be justified. And if you're coming from a perspective of, well, you have to prove that, someone or something should deserve rights, that would justify slavery until it's somehow proved that black people should have rights. It's a weird way. Yeah, so we should assume if it's a sentient being, we should start from a framework of it deserving rights. And if it doesn't, you should, have to prove otherwise.
100%. Man, what do you think the future looks like? What do you have some theories of the progression of animal rights and how things will evolve in the next year, in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, I think things are steadily growing. And I think especially when we have technologies like lab-grown meat, I think that's going to hopefully become economically viable enough where it just competes with, normal meat, where it's cheaper, better for you. There's not risk of contamination with E. coli and stuff. Maybe it can be engineered to be a bit healthier.
Less saturated fat.
Yeah, and hopefully that eliminates the animal agriculture industry. I would hope.
And
Ja, wie ich immer sage, das, was die Welt im Endeffekt vegan machen wird, ist tatsächlich Technologie. Nichts anderes.
Then people can eat elephant meat, lion meat.
Mit Hilfe von AI wird das auch schneller gehen.
I think that's what will draw people to it. You know, they can eat all these exotic animals, and it like will make the cell meat industry stand out from. I mean, there's other things to make it stand out. It can be healthier. It's better for the environment. Less chance of disease outbreaks.
Also ich glaube persönlich, dass dieser technologische Switch schneller kommen wird. So, dass man halt alles in vegan kriegt, zum gleichen Preis, aber ohne das ganze Tierleid, als dass die Politik das erstmal schafft, bevor die Technologie kommt. Das glaube ich leider nicht. Leider.
All these kinds of things. So there's a lot of reasons already. But I know a lot of people will just be like, it was made in a lab.
Wir haben ja gesehen, wie sich Politikleute machen, wie der AfD-Politiker da, Roger Beckamp. Wie die sich machen, ja. 0815 Standard, Omni, Durchschnitts-Omni, alle dieselben Fehlschlüsse, alles dasselbe wie bei jeder anderen Person.
Nah, where a sterile lab. You're eating from a slaughterhouse. Like, you don't think that's bad?
Yeah.
But
you're already starting to see that. I think Italy has already moved to ban cell-cultured meat because they say there's like safety concerns. Yeah. It has to be the meat lobby that's that's pushing them to do that.
It's insane. They've got their hand in so many things.
Yeah, I think Florida is trying to ban cell-cultured meat already.
The Real does. Vielen Dank für deinen Sub. Heute ist absolut hier wieder Supporter-Feuerwerk. Junge, vielen Dank für den Vegan-Support, Mann.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy that they can do that. But, because especially, like, you're going to ban it before, almost, like, it doesn't even really exist for you guys to ban. Why can't we just sort of create it and then go from there, see how it is? Just, like, pre-banning it, that is clearly meat industry lobbying move. So that is totally fucking corrupt as. But okay, so you have a lot of hope in cell meat. You think that is basically, like, dude, that's the only thing I think that could really change hearts and minds of such a large group of people who are more obsessed with eating flesh than they are with almost anything else in their life. Like, they can't even imagine life without it. It's hard, bro. You know, we do it every day. We've talked to so many people, and I've talked to a lot of very otherwise reasonable people. Friends, family, seen years and years.
Otherwise, ja. Mit den ganzen Menschen, mit denen man spricht, die so klug rüberkommen, ja, bis es darum geht, was bei denen auf dem Tisch, auf dem Teller landet, dann ist GG Nore. Sturm ist da ja bei euch auch, ja, bei uns auch hier. Zieht schwarz auf, ja, gleich ist richtig Kasala hier.
Is of my content still not changed? Like, I don't understand this, you know. I can't grasp being like that because I'm not like that. But a lot of people are.
Wirklich, such dir die intelligenteste Person, die du überhaupt nur kennst. Privat. Meinetwegen sogar online, ist eigentlich scheißegal. Ja, privat wäre besser, weil online sind die Menschen anders. Privat, und dann gehst du da hin, ne, und dann, wo du denkst, boah, der ist so klug und so, den kann man gar nicht das Wasser reichen, dann sprich den mal hier darauf an, was bei dem auf dem Teller liegt. Und dann fragt man nach der Rechtfertigung, der wird dir ankommen mit, aber Löwen. Aber machen wir schon immer. Das kannst du dir nicht vorstellen, Mann.
You can see it all, and they just still keep going, and you know they're gonna need it to be literally as convenient as it's the exact same thing in every way. But
ja, man, einfach austauschen die ganzen Tierprodukte in den Supermärkten mit Laborzeug.
Healthier and better, and no animals died. And I already
Am besten sollte man es machen, ohne es denen zu sagen.
already feel like we've got a good enough substitute with even just TVP's good.
I mean, wenn du dir die Grillmeister-Videos anguckst, wo die so Grillmeister fragen, was ist das, also jeder kriegt 2 Burger, ne, exakt dieselben. Einer ist nur mit echtem Meat, der andere mit Fake Meat, ja, und die sagen beim Fake Meat, das Fake Meat ist das richtige Meat. Schmeckt besser. Oops.
Good enough. But with the vegan meats we've already got, we don't need cell-based meat, in my opinion. But you know, to catch on to all the mainstream and everybody who's just so incredibly selfish and stubborn, cell-based meat probably gonna save the day.
Yeah, most people are selfish scumbags. A lot of people don't realize
Da habt ihr es gehört.
just how selfish and stupid most people are.
Yeah.
Like when
true.
you look at when you look at tragedies like the Holocaust, where an entire nation of people were on board with massacring another group of people, you kind of realize just how easily radicalized and stupid and selfish so many people are. And I mean,
absolutely.
Animal agriculture industry is a great example of that too.
They're preying on that.
You know?
They're masters of manipulation. Yeah. They've manipulated so many things in so many ways. You know, got milk and milk for calcium and protein for this, and omegas get
Milk, Alter.
From fish, and it's humane, and animals are basically nothing, so it doesn't even matter that we do this, and they're born for this purpose, and blah 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 blah. There's so many layers of it, dude. Like they've done an amazing job. It's really hard to
Aber ich merke, wie so eine frische Brise reinkommt, Alter. Ist das gut.
Combat. And look, like, yes, we are.
Heute war wieder so ein geiler Tag. Oh mein Gott, was für ein Top-Wetter.
Our species is so easily
Ich bin eins geworden mit dem Wald.
Manipulated. Billions of people base their lives on fairy tales, religions. They all got different religions. They all think they're the only one that holds the word of God, and they will believe died and rose from the dead a few days later with a virgin birth, walked on water to wine. The other religions flew away on a winged horse, you know, prophet this and that. And it's like, if you guys will believe that, just because someone read it out of a book in front of you with a large crowd around you, and you're just going to believe these massive, massive claims from thousands of years ago just because someone told you, even though it completely defies what our understanding is of the natural world and of physics. If you're going to believe shit like that, you believe anything. You can believe, you are so gullible.
Ja, religiöse Leute ist ein fürchterliches Problem. Ein fürchterliches Problem. Ob es deutsche Untertitel gibt? Nee. Oh, man kann automatisch und dann auf Deutsch?
So, and that's the majority of people.
Oh, shit. Hätten wir vielleicht von Anfang an machen sollen, aber... Also mich nervt das übelst sowas, aber ja. Klar, wenn jemand das echt nicht versteht, dann besser für die Zuschauer, glaube ich.
As we see, 90-something% of people eat animals, and I don't know.
Ja, was ich gerade sagen wollte, das mit Religion ist übelst problematisch. Vielleicht muss ich ein Video dazu machen, die ganzen Logikfehler von diesem Religionsargument aufzuzeigen. Nicht nur Appeal to Heaven Fallacy, sondern allgemein, wie jemand wirklich den Fehler darin nicht merkt, hinzugehen und sagen, ich rechtfertige Gewalt, weil mein Gott es sagt. Wie du den Fehler darin nicht siehst. Weil dein Nachbar kommt zu dir und sagt, hier, ich habe den und den erstochen gestern, einfach so auf der Straße von hinten mit einer Axt in den Kopf. Dann fragst du, wie rechtfertigst du das? Ja, weil mein Gott hat das gesagt. Der war so und so, diese Person. Und mein Gott hat gesagt, solche Personen davon umbringen. Ja, wie man den Fehler darin nicht merkt, wenn du sagst, dein Gott rechtfertigt Gewalt. Das ist beyond me, Mann. Was da mit den, vor allem erwachsene Menschen, Mann. Erwachsene Menschen. Millionen davon. Um nicht zu sagen Milliarden.
I don't know the percentage of people that are religious, but fucking high. So, man, you know, yeah, like, it's really hard to as I said, get through to people and their hearts and minds when they don't even realize, like, they got already so many manipulations there. And these are really powerful as well.
Man könnte ja mal sagen, wie die Untertitel da, ob die gut sind oder so. Also ich lese die nicht, aber wenn die zu schlimm sind, mache ich die wieder aus.
Like, directly relating to animal rights, because so many people use their religion to justify their slaughter, getting a diet from slaughter. Yeah. And it goes hand in hand then. They're like, well, I like being able to justify eating animals by saying God said it's fine.
Die einen rechtfertigen Tiere abstechen mit Religion, die anderen rechtfertigen Menschen abstechen mit Religion.
You know, so I don't...
Finde den Fehler.
I'm not going to get rid of that. But
it's
also,
all motivated reasoning.
Yeah, and same with believing in religion. It's like, yeah, this is pretty motivated reasoning, because if I don't believe this, I'm going to a very bad place when I die, or I'm going to a very good place. It's all just so lost in such a house of cards, man. But it's so prevalent, like, so prevalent.
Überraschend gut. Oh, cool, dann ist ja gut. Shit, wir hätten das echt dann von Anfang an machen sollen.
Prevalent. So it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I have a pretty pessimistic view on humanity. I've never really liked people, and I think I just picked up
Ja, ich habe auch ziemlich pessimistische Ansichten, was die Menschen angeht, leider.
on how scummy so many people are from when I was really young, and we have very, very good meat substitutes, like you've already said. Like I went vegan before, Beyond Meat and everything, before it was cool. I was doing just fine, and it's only made it easier with all the new options, and that's still not good enough for fucking practically everybody, and it's just because they're selfish dicks.
It is, bro. Like it's pathetic. It's sad. Like it's really changed my view of humanity as well and of people, and it's extremely disappointing. Like extremely disappointing to show someone slaughterhouse footage, and they're just like, yeah, but bacon tastes good. It's like, yeah, but what about murder?
Massaker-Videos angucken und dann sagen, Bacon schmeckt aber gut. Ja, da weißt du eigentlich alles über die Person.
How do you feel about that?
Aber kannst trotzdem immer noch NTT laufen lassen, um ihn noch mehr vorzuführen.
It's not good, but
und zu zeigen, was für ein kranker Mensch das ist.
I do like bacon. Man,
it's too bad you can't turn them into fucking bacon.
I always say that. I'm like, why don't you just slaughter
Vegan Gains wieder, Alter, der kennt gar nichts.
each other? Just do us all a favor, slaughter each other, eat each other. If you want to eat meat so badly, go ahead. Then it's fair game. Then you're all part of the game. Instead of preying on innocent, defenseless, vulnerable animals who can't fight back. Like fuck. That is not what an evolved species should be doing. Vegans are living in the future, bro.
Somebody donated about killing carnivorous animals. Should read those donos out and talk about that.
There's two here. Okay, so it's the same thing twice? No. All right. So Matthew. On a spending
jetzt kommt das Thema. Jetzt, Wenn hier jetzt ein paar Leute genau hinhören, dann gibt es hier Krawalle.
Thanks, bro. But killing all carnivore animals will harm the environment. Also, we cannot sterilize every plant-eating animal on the planet like rabbits, fish, and rats. And he also said in another donation, thanks
okay, so redet er von Konsequenzen, okay.
Again, bro. Also, one single study from Yellowstone does not prove that we can. Otherwise, if we kill all meat-eating animals, the environment will collapse. The environment. Right. What do you think, bro? Well, I know what you think. Tell the people.
Yeah, so if you're like a level 1000 vegan, you've probably had this conversation about killing carnivorous animals.
Yeah.
So carnivorous...
Ist meine Kamera jetzt im Bild... das ist auch scheiße. Oh wait, kann man nicht sowas hier machen? Aha. Oh mein Gott, ich bin so ein Profi. Gott, ich bin ja zum Streamen geboren.
Animals have to kill other animals.
Alter, am besten hier 5 Sprachen aufs Bild machen und dann können alle alles sehen, alles hören, alles verstehen. Oh mein Gott. Jeden Stream werde ich besser, Mann. Jeden Stream. Also lasst lieber ein Follow da, echt.
Survive, which would violate the rights of other animals. So the idea is to prevent a greater degree of rights violations, we should kill carnivorous animals. So lion might kill, say, I don't know, 100 or 1,000 gazelle in its lifetime. If you kill that one lion, you could, potentially save 100 or 1,000 lives, somewhere in that figure. The pushback against that is, but it would destroy the environment.
Ja, und auf diese Aussage presst du dir mit BOP. Du kannst dasselbe, du kannst den Ball genauso zurückspielen, sagst. Ja, und ich sage, die Umwelt geht davon nicht kaputt. Das Ökosystem geht davon nicht kaputt. Und Aussage gegen Aussage, lol.
I'm not convinced that every ecological niche would suffer.
Ich meine auch, dass eines der besten Gegenargumente dagegen ist immer noch, es sind Tausende von Spezies ausgestorben. Warum ist das Ökosystem nicht kollabiert?
If we got rid of carnivorous animals,
ich meine, Löwen sind fast ausgestorben.
You mentioned Yellowstone. Yellowstone's a good example of this. Wolves were gone from Yellowstone for quite a while, and it didn't cause any ecological issues. Like deer and moose and elk and all that in Yellowstone didn't overpopulate. They're actually doing better without carnivores there because then they didn't have to be worried about getting killed or eaten. I think they lived much, better, more peaceful lives. So if we're going to grant animals rights, and if we have an interest in reducing animal suffering and death, we should have an interest in, protecting the rights and the interests of wild animals. So in cases where it wouldn't cause ecological catastrophe, I haven't heard a good argument against killing carnivorous animals.
I hate to say it in a way, but neither have I. And I was talking, I talk about this every day now, bro. Like I think it's a popular conversation because it's kind of a new conversation. I don't know who got this started, but yeah, it's
Dr. Avi, huh?
I think the last few years we have just logically extended human rights to animal rights, and then our veganism has extended, our thinking about the rights of others has extended to the wild. Should we intervene in the wild? There's a lot of horrific suffering, death and rights violations happening there.
Ja, das größte Tierleid auf der Welt verursacht nicht der Mensch tatsächlich. Das größte Tierleid auf dieser Welt verursacht die Natur. Die Natur, also wie ich sage, die Natur verursacht mehr Leid pro Sekunde als der Mensch pro Jahr.
And I agree with you that it is very hard to make an argument against it, because if you're thinking about the victims, which is their right to live.
Ja, aber ein Löwe darf doch ein Zebra essen, oder nicht?
Trump someone else's right to kill, then it's really, it is hard to make. I don't have a good argument against it. I kind of want to, like, I was talking.
Ja, ich auch, Alter. Kannst gar nicht glauben, als ich das zum ersten Mal gehört habe, dass man sagt, ja, der Löwe darf das Zebra nicht fressen. Da dachte ich auch, ich will was dagegen sagen, ich will dagegen argumentieren, weil ich will irgendwie, dass die Natur so bleibt oder sowas. Ja, und dann habe ich mir das angehört und musste aufgeben, ja, und sagen, ja, ihr habt recht. Das ist natürlich das einzig Logische. Der Löwe darf das Zebra natürlich nicht fressen.
Talking yesterday about this with the nutrivore, and he sort of
Zum Glück bin ich da nie in eine Debatte gegangen und wurde da nicht auseinandergeklatscht. Zum Glück habe ich mir das Wissen vorher schon eingeeignet und meine Position verworfen und diese neue Position angenommen.
Going through the Joe Rogan discussed our debate with Sean Baker on his show, and me and Nick got to a point where he was sort of saying, if the right intention was there, if Joe went and hunted bears, it would be an okay thing to do. And like, I see the logic there, and I don't want to admit that that's true, because I hate the idea of being like, Joe, can you kill bears? Because, it's a net good. But it's a fucking hard thing to argue when you are thinking about all the lives it could save. In the human context, if there is a...
Genau, in the human context, die Bären laufen rum und zerfleischen Menschen. Wer ist dann dafür, Bären zu erschießen?
A mass murderer who we know is going to murder 1,000 people in his lifetime, we're not going to just let him go and do that. Now, ideally, we're not going to murder him. Ideally.
Okay, der macht jetzt NTT von der Menschenseite aus, ja. Ich mache das immer andersrum. Ich finde, andersrum ist das effektiver. Ich mache immer NTT von der Tierseite, nicht von der Menschenseite. Du kannst NTT ja immer von zwei Seiten laufen lassen. Du hast einen Aggressor und du hast das Opfer. Du kannst das entweder von der Aggressorseite oder von der Opferseite laufen lassen. Ich lasse das immer von der Opferseite laufen. Ich finde, das ist effektiver.
We do something less violent, and usually that's what we do. So hopefully with bears, as an example, maybe we could feed them vegan meat, maybe we could sterilize, maybe we could separate, something like this. But assuming those options aren't there, is it the right thing to do? Maybe it is. I'm listening to you guys and I'm trying to argue against it and I'm struggling.
Ja gut, Bären sind ja Omnivore, aber Löwen zum Beispiel, das sind ja reine Karnivore. Da sollte es einem dann noch viel einfacher fallen. Vielen Dank für deinen Sub, Zuckerinsel. Vielen Dank.
Ja,
Zuckerinsel hat heute die Spendierhosen an, ey. Holy moly. Guacamole.
A lot of people had, when I first heard the argument, it was pretty weird.
Ja, es war echt weird, das erste Mal das zu hören, ja.
I had never thought about it, and a lot of people have this idea of we're vegan, we should leave nature alone, let it do its thing, not interfere.
Ja, das hörst du von wahrscheinlich 99% aller Veganer leider. Man sollte die Natur in Ruhe lassen. Die Natur ist Natur, greift da nicht ein, spiel nicht Gott und sowas. Ne? Diese ganzen hirntoten Logikallergiker-Sprüche, einfach nur Buzzwords raushauen, ne? Um vor Logik zu flüchten. Ja, bis ich dann irgendwann NTT gehört habe, ne, in diesem Kontext und dann dachte, wait, stimmt, scheiße.
And I think what really trips people up is they feel sympathy for these carnivorous animals because they're doing it out of necessity.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
But you should have sympathy for the animals that are getting killed. I think when you really think about it, you don't really care. You don't have as much sympathy.
Majority. It's not one for one either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you really think about it, you don't really have the majority of sympathy going to the perpetrator, the carnivores. You have the most sympathy going to the victims, the herbivores.
Yeah.
If xenomorphs existed, the creatures from the alien movies that kill and hunt humans, we wouldn't have any problem with eradicating xenomorphs or any type of movie monster. Like, we wouldn't care about hunting vampires or,
Yeah.
you know, like what have you. So if we're fine with killing things like xenomorphs, vampires, you know, any kind of creature that would be hunting and killing us, we wouldn't say like, oh, but they're doing it out of necessity. It's, you know, their natural way of living. You know, it's all part of the food chain. No, we'd have an interest in protecting ourselves and, you know, trying to reduce like the amount of murder that's going on. So if you have that type of thinking when it comes to protecting human life, I don't know why you wouldn't have that same type of thinking when it comes to protecting animal life.
Yeah, I cannot disagree. I can't say that I'm like fully made up my mind on this because it's like
Ja, es ist einfach nur ein komisches Gefühl. Das ist ganz klar. Wenn du diese Position hältst, dann ist das ein komisches Gefühl. Weil du willst ja keine Tiere töten, aber verstehe, ist einfach logisch. Das ist viel einfacher.
a very hard pill to swallow to consider that the right thing to do in this situation may be to kill if other options have been exhausted.
Yes, weil du es im Menschenkontext auch machen würdest.
To kill the predator.
Und keinen Eigenschaftsunterschied nennen kannst.
To save the victims. I mean, yeah, like when you say it, it sounds obvious and logical, but also to think about that in practice, someone made a comment, so we're just going to shoot the birds that eat fish out of the sky. You know, to think of the practical implication is very wild. You know, it's like, it fucking seems nuts, bro.
Ja, vor allem, wenn du dann an sowas wie Insekten und sowas denkst, da wird es ja noch absurder.
But also, okay, so we don't do that, and then even more suffering and death happens. So is it really that crazy? Fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the right option is to just kill carnivorous animals. You're creating a situation where there's far less, you know, suffering and death, which is kind of our interest.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, sorry, mate.
Oh, yeah, and like again, we wouldn't use all these cope excuses like, you know, oh, it's natural, it's part of the food chain. That's just how, you know, nature works. If it was us, you know, being hunted and killed.
Yep.
Someone said James Aspey has absolutely lost his ever-loving mind talking about feeding bears vegan meat. Wouldn't you prefer they eat a
Ja, da kommen wieder die ganzen Logikallergiker im Chat leider.
healthy alternative to slaughtering other beings, you know, who suffer and die? Why not just give them something? If we could fill their stomachs so they don't have as much urge to kill and reduce deaths, why wouldn't we just feed them that? Seems pretty smart to me. But
yeah, like especially in captivity, you could just feed them vegan cat or dog food and they'd probably be fine.
Absolutely, yeah. Makes no sense to kill like 1,000 animals to save one.
Yep.
Fuck, what was I going to say about this? Someone also said, let me see if I can find it, I'll read it word for word. There's no practical implication of this argument, it's just a hypothetical stroke off. Now, for the longest time, I was saying this exact thing, not quite the exact thing, but just like, interesting conversation, but can we just focus on changing humans and making them vegan, because that's where we have control and power, and that is going to make a significant difference, so let's work on that, which we do.
Tun wir doch, genau, wollte ich gerade sagen.
But I think, tell me if I'm wrong, because what I think is happening here is just, this is a new conversation. People are trying to figure out where they sit with this. What is the right thing to do if we are, you know, trying to grant human rights to animals? What would be the thing we would do? And when you just think about it like that, it does seem reasonably consistent. It seems consistent. But when we're talking about, as I said, shooting birds out of the sky, doesn't sound very practical necessarily. But I'd have a guess that the killing the animals aside, let's just say we're intervening in a non-violent way and we are just separating animals or just feeding animals so they don't have the need to kill and they don't kill anymore. Like I would find it very hard to, unless there was maybe some really, really crazy ecological knock-on effect that ended up causing more suffering and death. Seems reasonable, seems totally reasonable. So I'm sure there are places where things could be done, and I'm glad this conversation is being had now because there is a lot of horrific violence happening in the wild. So why wouldn't we talk about it? It makes sense we would as vegans.
Yeah, I mean, we all.
Ja, alle Veganer sollten drüber reden, aber leider kriegst du sogar im Vegan Space ziemlich viele Feinde, wenn du das Fass aufmachst. Weil die Veganer sind halt sehr emotional geleitet und die kommen dann mit der Appeal to Emotion Fallacy und fangen an mit Fallacies genau wie die Nicht-Veganer.
Already invest.
Ganz zu schweigen davon, dass sie anfangen mit sowas wie Appeal to Nature und sowas oder naturalistischer Fehlschuss. Ja, das ist ja so einfach in der Natur, dann sollte es auch so bleiben. 1:1, die Standard-Omni-Dinger bringen die ganzen Veganer. Ist einfach nur zu bitter.
quite a bit of resources into managing ecosystems.
Yep.
So in a future society where we had technology to engineer ecosystems, I don't know why it's like this weird hypothetical idea that would never happen. Like we already have an interest in engineering ecosystems, and we do that to some degree.
Genau, nicht nur, dass wir Ökosysteme schon technisch herstellen, sondern sogar es gibt ganze Verbände, die gegen Wild Animal Suffering kämpfen. Die machen das schon, die sterilisieren schon und versuchen mit irgendwelchen Technologien Tiere davon abzuhalten, dass sie sich gegenseitig auffressen und umbringen.
So in a future society where we had the ability to engineer, totally vegan ecosystems, I don't know why we wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's hard to make an argument for that for sure. It just seems like we're getting more control and using.
Das Gute ist, also debattiertechnisch für alle, die das interessiert, debattiertechnisch ist das, sobald du es mal verstanden hast, wirklich im Kern verstanden hast und das mit NTT verbindest und auch das verstanden hast, dann ist das eine noch leichtere Position zu verteidigen, als einen ganz normalen Omni zu widerlegen. Also, weil das ist irgendwie viel geradliniger und viel einfacher einfach. Du ersetzt einfach das Opfer mit einem Menschen, dann fragst du, darf der Löwe einen Menschen fressen? Ja, und dann fangen die an zu stolpern. Also, ist auch nur so ein Teilaspekt, deswegen ist das irgendwie, mir kommt es vor, als wäre das leichter, wenn man da mal drin ist.
Our power for good.
Und ich habe noch nie gesehen, dass da irgendjemand auch nur ansatzweise irgendwas dagegen anbringen konnte. Das ist das Witzige.
Reduce the things that we all agree are horrible. And just doing what we would want done. Like, it's one thing to say, don't intervene, circle of life, lions eat zebras. But if you're the zebra, you are begging for intervention. Just like if it was me, I'm glad police would come and do something if someone was trying to get super violent with me. We already have these systems set up in the human context. And yeah, it does seem hypocritical, does seem speciesist to not do the same thing for non-human animals.
Ja, dann weiß auch jeder, warum ich auf Discord heiße, wie ich heiße. Huh? Das hat schon seinen Grund.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crazy conversation because, like, okay, we're talking about intervention even to the point of potentially killing or maybe even eradicating species. But as soon as then you think about the victims.
Ja, eradicating species. Ja, was ist, wenn wir hier Vampire haben? Vampirmenschen. Töten wir die auch oder nicht? Oder lassen wir die machen?
Who would be many more, and also I believe what they deserve matters more than someone who might not know any better, but they're still violent murderers. When you lay it all out, like, as I said, I don't know how to argue against it. I've thought about it a fair bit, and yeah, you guys seem to be making a lot of sense on this one.
Yep.
And it's good because it'll give people more thought on the topic and, lead to some people. I'm not interested in necessarily working in that realm, but some people might hear this and be like, yeah, wild animal suffering, I should do something about that. I could do this, I could do that, and plans will happen and things will happen and suffering will reduce, and awesome. Great. Like, we're closer to a more perfect world.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, cool. Well, goddamn, you guys bringing that comment. Who started talking about that, dude? Do you know? Like, where did you first hear about it?
I think it was Avi. Yeah, I think Avi was the first one to bring that up.
Yep.
Right on, man. And then I saw Humane Hancock's video, The Vegan Blind Spot. And, it was enlightening, for sure.
Das Video war auch super, Vegan Blind Spot.
So cool, bro. All right, well, let me think. Oh, so in terms of... I wanted to ask you, actually, man. First of all, is there anything else regarding, like, the future of animal rights and the progression of this movement? Any other things you kind of predict or... you see happening like that? Like, for example, they went to war over slavery. Do you think there could be something like that when it comes to animal rights? Or you think that vegan...
Probably not.
You think cell meat will get it in first? You think probably not because we're detached because it's not actually us, And that's
a big part of it.
Yeah, that's enough of an attachment to be like, not want to go to war. That is fucked, actually.
Yeah, I don't see like a human civil war happening over something like that. It's never happened ever in history, so I just don't see that happening.
Well, it's never happened ever in history, but there's also never been such a big push by a growing number of people to end the animal holocaust.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's ever going to be enough people and with enough motivation to actually take up arms over it. So,
You think it's possible though? Because I mean, you get another 30%.
No, not really.
Oh, you just think it's impossible, really? Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know exactly like how all that kind of thing works, but I know there's a lot of passionate vegans out there, and if we multiply the numbers by 100, you know, maybe there would be some sort of like militia out there doing what they got to do to. Just...
I could see something like people blowing up slaughterhouses.
Yeah, well,
but,
yeah, we've seen
as
stuff
far
like
as
that
like a
already.
civil war.
You know,
Yeah.
we've seen like ALF kind of actions, arson, you know, destroying mink farms and shit like that. So, but yeah, you think it's probably a bit far too, I don't know, man, like maybe, because I feel like that's kind of speciesist of us, which whatever, like we have our values, you know, and, or maybe it's just that we value so many human lives more than the 3 trillion a year that are murdered that aren't human. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting to think about because, again, if we were extending human rights to animals, well, if it was humans in that situation, I don't know if we do it right now because we don't have so many numbers and we'd get fucking smoked. But in the future, who knows? Because that would be the logical, consistent thing to do, right? Something like that, like they did with slavery, unless there was a better alternative. But if people will not put their fucking meat down and not stop slaughtering, at some point it's like, you leave us no choice. I don't know. I'm not saying that is the move or like what will happen or what I think should happen. I'm just kind of putting a thought experiment out there.
I think if there's going to be something like that happening, it would probably just be like mass sabotage. I think that'd be effective enough.
Cool. Sounds fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. So anything else then in the future? You know, that was just a specific example, but cell meat you think is going to have a massive impact? You know, maybe like AI or virtual reality or anything like this, or I don't know. Any technology you'd like to see? Any big study you'd like to see that you think might inspire people? Any type of documentary, very specific, you think would be powerful?
No, not outside of anything that's going on right now. I think just having more viable options that are practically identical to, you know, the meat people are already eating. That's probably going to be the death knell.
Easiest move. Yeah, let the least effort for the most amount of people. Any ideas, if you had $1 million to pump into the movement, what you would do with that? Maybe you'd donate it, maybe you'd fund something that you want to do yourself.
I don't know what I do. I don't know what the best way to spend $1 million for animal activism would be.
Wüsste ich jetzt auch nicht. Gute Frage. Noch nie drüber nachgedacht.
If I had like a lot of money, like billions, I'd probably create a lobby group.
Okay, that would be awesome. And can you tell us a bit how you would work that? Like not work.
Well,
the benefit.
just give money, like be a big political donor and lobby for animal rights. So, you know, you'd agree to give, you know, like, you know, millions of dollars to somebody's political campaign if they would, you know, do something to help animal rights.
Yeah. Cool. Similar to how they offered the Pope $1 million.
Yeah,
more, yeah, like, but more in the political realm of, you know, where people are making laws and things like that. I think that would be a really good way to spend some money for sure. Any other ideas like that?
No, not really. I haven't really thought of anything like that.
You should, bro. I think I'd love to hear some things you could come up with, man. You know, you got a unique perspective on the whole situation, and we should think big. Never know when $1 million might fall in your lap.
Yeah, maybe create like some sort of weird, like religious group, sort of like Scientology. I don't know.
I've heard.
Yeah, maybe I could do it.
I had a priest hit me up one day who was like, dude, trust me, what you guys need to do is make this a religion, get the protections, get the community, all this kind of thing will aid your movement significantly. You know, have preachers,
Yeah, maybe.
the whole thing. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty reasonable idea actually. Just something that doesn't exist that,
What the fuck, sowas habe ich aber auch noch nie gehört.
you know,
Der Veganer kommen auf Ideen, ey, holy moly.
it might not be the whole story, but it would, you know, bring people together, talking about veganism. Oh, bring a friend, just like Christians do with their youth groups and all that shit, and make it a fun party, dude, instead of just like very segregated vegans there, vegans over there, and there's no like, you know, regular sort of coming together thing that really everyone is welcome to, where there's like, let's talk about this, here's a little bit of video, maybe there's some cool, I don't know, whatever, something like that might be good for a bunch of people. Veganpology, my wife said. Boom, there we go, we already got a name, we're making progress here, nice. What else do I want to ask you, bro? What about
Vegantology.
for your future, dude? You got goals, you know, like let's say money was no option, or not even to say money was no option, maybe you already have some sort of more long-term things, like you are early 30s, is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be 33 in June.
Okay, so 33 in June, cool. So dude, like, I mean, I assume you don't think that the animal holocaust is ending any day now. You know, it's probably going to be decades at the least. Do you have any sort of like longer term plan or any goals you'd like to accomplish, or dreams, or maybe it will, maybe it won't happen, but just something you think that like you would like to just add to your contribution?
Yeah, in terms of personal goals outside of activism, I would just like to live a happy, peaceful life. I've had depression my whole life, and I'd just like to overcome depression. That's the biggest one for me. Aside from that, in terms of vegan activism, I would just like to keep doing what I'm doing and just help grow a bigger and bigger movement of based vegans. That's really it.
Hell yeah. And you think you're already doing that the best way? You're online every day. You're reacting to all the current vegan and animal rights related events. You're answering all the questions. You're dominating the debates. You're pretty much just doing it and want to do more of it.
Yeah. I'm interested in that idea of making veganism into a religion, like vegantology. I'm getting some ideas from that already. So maybe that's going to be something in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. I think, they obviously have a good model, and people want community. And one thing that happens when you go vegan is you lose your community, because
I think especially in the vegan community, there's issues where a lot of us are kind of separated, and maybe just having some sort of religion, quote unquote, might help.
Yeah, like a consistent event similar to like Sunday church, where everyone comes, there's sausages on the barbecue, there's music, good vibes, people hang out, and it's just like a known thing that at the Vegantology Center, which is a beautiful building, people are talking about cool shit about ethics and animal rights, and maybe there's someone talking about health this day and get different speakers and cool beats, and everybody is welcome, but the only food.
Also der macht mir ja auch schon hier, der bringt mir auch schon Gefallen in diese Idee rein.
Food and drink served there.
Also ich habe eine vegane Community.
Is all vegan stuff, and really a good way to get a lot of people's foot in the door, I think.
Yeah.
But just before anyone talks any shit, veganism isn't a religion. Religions have gods, and our gods.
Yeah.
Cows aren't our gods. We just don't want them to be murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Ja, kann man eine Religion haben ohne einen Gott? Das ist auch so eine interessante Frage.
All right, so basically just continue on and doing what you're doing, bro. I think it makes sense to me. You're obviously having great success. You've been on YouTube for how long?
Almost 10 years now.
Really?
I think it might actually be 10 years. Yeah.
10 years, bro. Cool. And you've moved to the live stream space in the last 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
Just reduce workload, and I just find it more fun.
Yeah, more entertaining for you. Do you like that you can, your fans and followers, I'm sure they love it. I know I like to see you engaging with people live like that. It's not an option for them when they're just commenting on a video you posted 3 days ago. So it's pretty amazing technology that people who support you can be there in the moment with you, asking you questions and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So you wanted to just do something that you found a bit more entertaining and a bit less strenuous, than going through all these people's videos all the times and making them and editing them and then doing it. Whereas now you're basically doing the same job, but you're just doing it live, and you don't have to fuck around editing or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you feel like you are, compared to your years doing this, do you see your impact a lot? Obviously you're having an impact, because every time you do anything, a seed is planted, right? So whether that person went vegan from a thing you said, or 10 years later after a bunch of other things happening, but do you see quite a bit of vegan gains? Thank you so much. You helped me go vegan. And how does it also...
Yeah, I see that all the time.
Cool. And how does it also compare to previous years?
I've just been seeing it consistently since I've started. A lot of people just saying they've gone vegan because of my content.
Someone said, that's awesome, bro. Someone said, Vegan Gains has great potential to stream without discussing veganism. He has other talents. Yeah, I think that's actually great. And I've seen it work in the animal rights movement's favor, because you're discussing things with dudes like Destiny, getting on these kick or keep debate streams where you're the only vegan, always fucking dominating, might I add. And you're interacting with all these people on a broad range of topics, and you always got base views, bro, and everyone sees that, and that's why you win these things, and people want to see what you've got to say on topics, because you think rationally and logically for the most part, as far as most of us see. You're reaching beyond the vegan crowd, bro, and I think that's something that probably a lot of YouTubers that are vegan have trouble with, because they talk about veganism, and maybe they're not as interested talking about as many other things on YouTube. So I think it's great that you've grown and grown what you're doing for a greater audience. It's obviously paying off well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my personality kind of helps too. A lot of vegans are kind of a little too nice and passive, and just
I agree.
having somebody who, I don't know, a little more real, maybe too real at
Yes.
times helps.
You're honest, mate, and you, dude.
Ja, wir brauchen mehr Raffaelas, das ist wohl wahr.
You like, look, when I went vegan and I started doing my thing, traveling around Australia, going giving speeches and stuff, I was very, very focused on reaching everybody, meaning also children. And I kept my speech very PG and tried to just really keep in mind that I want kids to get this message too. I did that for many years, and now I'm at a point where I just want to be more relaxed and just, I don't want to have to think too much about how I'm going to say shit. I just want to be able to talk how I always talk with my wife all day long and everybody that's my homie. I just want to be that, more myself. And, there's like some concern over, will this be good or will this be worse? People will know you in a certain way. But like at the end of the day, if you want to stay sustainable doing this, talking about animal rights over and over and over and over and over and over and over again every single day for years and years and years, you just need to, like, as you did, make yourself as comfortable as possible with it, do streaming instead of busting hours into a video, and just like evolve so that you can, because it's annoying, man, talking shit with all these idiots all the time that are defending animal abuse. It's exhausting, and you're seeing it and you're thinking about it and you're talking about it, like, it's not a nice topic. So
Yeah.
and we've all got our own problems as well, like you do, and everybody. I mean, I know you got some pretty serious ones, but like, we all got our own stresses and things like that. And yeah, man, if you can just like be yourself and people like it, and you get to like just be ruthless sometimes, man. If you're still helping people go vegan and getting the results you want, then that's awesome.
Yeah. I think a lot of activists should do that. You shouldn't be too afraid of how people are going to perceive you, and try to moderate the way you talk and the way you think to kind of have a broader appeal. I think if you try to appeal to everybody, you're going to appeal to nobody. So just be yourself,
Absolutely.
argue the way you'd normally argue, and I think you're going to find like a stronger niche. And I think as well, you kind of have to, think of your mental health too.
Yeah.
Because doing all those videos responding to fucking idiots nonstop, it can like be cancer for your mind. And you kind of have to think of whether or not you can do things sustainably long term, and just doing things more that you enjoy and you can tolerate for a longer period of time. You're probably going to be in the game for longer. Because
sure.
that's kind of what happened to Gary Yourofsky. Apparently he would argue with everybody at every opportunity, no matter where, no matter when, and he kind of got burnt out from it. So
yeah, it's a good lesson, seeing what happened to Yourofsky. Like, he let the fucking haters get to him. Probably a lot of things happened. Probably got burnt out from the whole thing. But like, one thing and he said this, that's why I'm saying it. Don't let these people talking shit to you get to you, because they got to me. It's real, bro. Like, being on the internet with thousands of people commenting on you, and especially when they're vegan, so you're already like, these are my people, and it makes you question, am I fucked? Am I doing bad shit? Is something wrong with my personality? But vegans can be anybody, so of course there's so many disagreements amongst vegans. You can have two people that are vegan but completely different religions, two people that are vegan but completely different cultures. So there's, you can't please everybody. You're 100% right, and yeah, it makes the most sense to just be you, dude. Be you as much as you can, and that's the most sustainable thing. You don't have to put a mask on, you don't have to play any games or think as much. You can just do your thing, and that's enough, is the point. Just get the words out of your mouth in whatever way they come out. That's easy, that still makes sense, and you'll have an impact. So yeah. Cool, bro. Cool. Your advice, I think one thing that concerns people is just that, what Yourofsky went through, and what I've been through it a lot, and a lot of people go through haters, and you've fucking had heaps. You've had heaps, right? Because you are powerful, dude, and you make good points, and people don't like you for it, so they try to discredit you for other things. So what do you have any advice to people who are like, I want to do activism, or I want to start talking about animal rights, but I don't know how to handle all that shit? You got a lot of experience, bro, so what would you say?
Yeah, I think most people are not mentally equipped to deal with online hate and harassment. I think I just have a mind for it, and part of it's just the way I was brought up, just a very hostile household, kind of used to butting heads. So I would just say, alter the way you do activism to, tolerate some of that. So you might want to not do so much online activism if you can't really handle a lot of online hate. And you should also just learn about the moderation. types of tools that you have on these platforms like YouTube. You can censor out certain words or phrases. So if people are telling you to kill yourself or something, you can censor that out so it gets automatically blocked if that triggers you. But yeah, there's not just one way to do activism, and I think most people just aren't really well equipped to deal with online hate.
Yeah, it's, you know, you probably should be trained for that shit before people get online, but we're not, and you kind of learn the hard way, and a lot of people don't learn, and they just bounce because it's a lot. It's a lot unless you know how to fucking handle it. Me personally, I learned from experience, not from like studying and having a mad, like, practical way of dealing with it. But I think the bottom line for me is just, if you really know yourself, you know your intentions, you know you're a good person, the people around you aren't constantly telling you that you're a bad person. Like, your friends and family agree that you do your best and generally you make good choices, and if you do something wrong, you apologize, you're sorry, like, you try to grow and evolve, and no one's perfect, but you're good. You know, if you can just be solid in yourself and then be like, okay, so I've got a good foundation here, whatever I'm doing is coming from me being a good person. So even if I say something fucked up or something one time, you know, it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't mean that everything I've ever done is shit, or that I should be cancelled or whatever. It's just like, you know, people make mistakes and we're in the public eye and people are looking at us, and we're also put to a high standard because we're vegans, you know, leading an ethical revolution. So we're on a higher standard than most people. And, but, you know, you just got.
Ja, also mein wichtigster Punkt ist bei diesem ganzen Ding, wie geht man mit Hater-Kommentaren und sowas um? Werd gut im Debattieren und verstehe, dass das, was diese Leute schreiben, die können das nicht verteidigen. Ne? Wenn du die ganzen Leute, die dich irgendwie haten, herausforderst, du schreibst 100 Leuten, die irgendwelche Sachen unter deine Videos schreiben, du forderst 100 davon heraus und 0 kommen zu einer Debatte, da musst du verstehen, was das bedeutet. Ne, dass es einfach nur Internet-Rambos sind, einfach nur schlechte Menschen sind, die auf keinen Fall wollen, dass man das, was die schreiben, presst, weil die genau wissen, dass sie 0 Chancen haben, und damit beweist du dir ja selber, dass du recht hast. Na, anstatt irgendwie rumzuzweifeln, der eine sagt, du bist verrückt, du bist krank, du bist was auch immer, was laberst du für einen Müll, ne? Also alles, was ich gesagt habe, sind jetzt ad hominems, da ist kein einziges valides Argument dabei. Die gehen ja nicht auf die Inhalte ein. In aller seltensten Fällen, 99%, gehen die nicht auf Inhalte ein, sondern es ist ad hominem oder Tonpolicing oder allgemeine Red Herrings, kann man sagen. Und ja, wenn du einfach verstehst, dass du Recht hast, ne, und das verstehst, dass die Logik dir Recht gibt, ja, der Omni kommt und du widerlegst seine Position in seinem Moralsystem einfach mit Logik. Und dann verstehst du, dass du Recht hast. Es ist völlig egal, was die Person schreibt. Und du weißt ja, dass du Recht hast. Du kannst beweisen. Das ist ja das ganze Ding. Und das ist eins der größten irgendwie Kopfzerbrecher bei den Menschen. Die denken immer, es gibt 2 Menschen, die haben unterschiedliche Meinungen. Das war's. Die verstehen nicht, dass man Argumente überprüfen kann. Das nennt man Schlussfolgerungslehre. Kann man herausfinden, wer Recht hat. No shit. Was glaubst du, was ein Widerspruch ist? Ein Widerspruch bedeutet, die Person widerlegt sich in ihrem eigenen Moralsystem. Die widerspricht ja nicht dir, die widerspricht ja sich selbst, also seinem eigenen Moralsystem. Es ist Tradition und es ist nicht Tradition. Wait, du hast ja widersprochen in deinem Moralsystem. Also ja, wenn du das mal verstanden hast, dass du einfach Recht hast, ja, dann ist es viel leichter.
And just remember, you know, keep your eyes on the prize. We are here not to make friends, not to get a bunch of followers, but to put a message out there for animal rights, make it clear and concise, and hopefully reach as many people as possible. And you know, people will come and people will go, and rumors will spread, and lies will be told, and people will believe them, and people will talk shit, and it won't be fair a lot of the time. And it's like, yeah, that's how it is. It can be annoying, but is it going to be the thing that makes you like upset and cry and stop talking about animal rights? Or are you just going to be like, cool, thanks for helping me get thicker skin, and you know, I'm just going to use all this fuel to make me do more good shit and channel my frustration at all you people into me just continuing on the work and letting the results speak for themselves.
I think another important thing is you don't need to read comments.
Facts.
I used to read all the comments and argue with people too much, and you do not need to read comments. If you start seeing people call you idiot, dumb shit, fuck you, just stop. You don't have to read it. So yeah, a lot of people get like hung up on reading comments and looking at the responses and shit. If you start seeing a bunch of crap that's triggering you, just stop while you're ahead and forget about it. Don't dwell on it.
Yeah, one habit I got into while I was going through my suffering, you know, I couldn't get out there and do so much, but I was always engaged in debates online, in comment sections, on my own, on other people's, on news outlets, whatever, wherever I saw some animal rights situation going on. And fuck, man, the amount of energy I put into one person here, one person there, debating back and forth for days, getting pretty much nowhere with anybody. You know, it's just so unproductive to get in those comment section battles.
Ja, das ist auch, was ich absolut jedem empfehlen kann. Spart euch Textdebatten, also absolut sinnlos. Also im Live-Chat vielleicht noch, so auf Discord auch noch, vielleicht noch, weil das ja auch irgendwie live, aber YouTube oder sowas, wo du warten musst, bis der andere antwortet, manchmal tagelang und sowas, ja, komplett sinnlos. Deswegen auch das Einzige, was du, wenn du bei mir irgendwas in den Kommentaren hörst, auf Kritik, ist immer, okay, du kommst wann zur Debatte? Dann hörst du nie wieder etwas oder Beleidigungen. So, ja, komplett sinnlos. Das Einzige, was wirklich Sinn ergibt, sind Debatten im Voice, also Sprachdebatten 1 gegen 1. Das ist sinnvoll. Das ist ultra sinnvoll, weil du widerlegst die für alle öffentlich sichtbar. Und das ist das Geile.
Compared to doing a stream, making a video, fucking, there's heaps of shit you could do that's better than that. It's like one of the worst things almost. It's not all bad, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, some of my comments have got like mad likes on it and a lot of people have been like, whoa. But for the most part, I don't think too much significant change is going to happen in a comment thread on Instagram.
Yeah. Don't over obsess about comments. They're kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, cool. I have a totally random question for you. Would you be down to drop a rap verse on a song one day with me?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Fucking gangster shit. All right, bro. I'm gonna hold you to that. Cool. That could be next week or it could be in a year. I don't know, but I'll be in touch. I think it'll be sick.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Hell yeah, bro. Mad. Like, did you see when Paul McDonald, nah, that's a fucking homie from back in the day. Tom McDonald and Shapiro did that rap?
Yeah.
And it
that was cringe.
But the thing was that the novelty of him rapping, no one ever heard him rap before. Everybody was just like, oh, I'll watch that just for the novelty of who's this guy. And, you know, when it comes to music, this is my future goals. This is something I've been working on the last couple of years as well, is, you know, animal rights has so much language, has so much of our like internal vocabulary regarding veganism and animal rights, so many rhymes to rhyme that haven't been done yet. And so many lyrics, and it's so powerful, and I found it the best way to express how I really want to say shit. And it's fun and interesting, and when it's got a beat, people are going to listen to it and, you know, like nod their head and listen to the shit. So I'm onto it, bro, and I think it's going to be sick. But then on top of that, you get a random collab with somebody like you, no one ever heard you rap before, and then, you know, that I just feel like it's a massive way to just like what they did, dude. They blew it up because of the novelty, and get a novelty rap with you, and get a random one, like, I don't know if I should mention names, but I got a couple of people who you would never expect would do a rap that are down to do some animal rights raps with me. So I think that's going to be cool, bro, to like bring people together, to bring audiences together and share audiences, and also you know, hear people drop a rhyme for the first time, which is going to be cool, and just get a new like wave of activism happening. I think it's going to be big.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Sweet, bro. Well, I'm glad I asked, and I'm glad you accepted the invitation. Anything else, bro? Is there anything else you want to discuss, or you feel would be good to actually, just before you do, if you have anything? Lee Richardson donated £5. Thanks so much, Lee. And they said, vegan gains, call out Jake Paul for a fight, get that bag because you'll easy win, and then start Vegantology. Fuck, there we go. We've got a method.
I think I could beat him, but I don't think he'd agree to it. I'm not a big enough name. He also only fights old people, so.
Yeah, true. You're probably quite a bit taller than him too, I assume. I think he's like...
I don't know how tall he is. I'm 6'3". How tall is Jack?
I think, if I remember correctly, I saw it recently. I think he's 6'2".
Okay.
Who knows, bro? Who knows what'll happen? You know, you might blow up. You might fucking...
Oh, actually, somebody talked to Logan Paul in person. One of my viewers. Yeah. And he said, "Why don't you fight Vegan Gains?" And then he laughed and he said, "Oh yeah, I know Vegan Gains."
No shit.
One of the Paul brothers was asked about that.
That's hilarious, bro. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we've already got a foot in the door.
Yeah.
They should get you on Impulsive. I could actually maybe make that happen. I've been on their podcast a while back.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I know a dude who might be able to make that happen. I think that's the project. I'll work on that for you, dude.
That'd be sick.
That would be sick. Yeah. I'll remember. I will need to write that down. But hit me up on that soon. I'll message a dude.
Ja, der eine Bruder da, der ist ja echt nicht, obwohl ich glaube, es sind sogar beide nicht schlecht im Boxen, ne? Lustig. Also Logan Paul gegen Vegan Games hat, das wäre das Event des Jahrzehnts, ey.
As we're done here.
All right.
But that would be epic, bro. You would fucking dominate. I was too nice, bro. Like, I was. And I wanted to be, you know, it was at a time where I just...
Ja, ich weiß nicht, ob Vegan Games so dominieren würde. Alter, die sind echt nicht schlecht, glaube ich. Ich glaube, die haben auch fast alle Kämpfe oder alle Kämpfe gewonnen. Schon, also die boxen schon wirklich nicht schlecht, muss ich ganz ehrlich sagen.
felt like what veganism needed was a nice friendly face because it had such a bad rap. And
Das ist nicht so ein Müll wie irgendwie Promi-Boxen oder sowas, wo wirklich die Männer boxen, da denkst du dir, mein Gott, der weiß nicht mal, wie man schlägt, der weiß gar nichts. Bist du ein Mann oder bist du eine Maus? Also es ist einfach nur cringe anzusehen, wie Männer sich so irgendwie unfähig sind, sich zu bewegen oder zu schlagen. Ich weiß, wie man fucking seine Faust nach vorne bewegt.
I think there's a lot of nice, friendly vegans out there. It's sort of that.
Ja, ich habe natürlich leicht reden. Ich bin ja aus Kasachstan. Ich war Käfigkämpfer. So.
That what's the fucking word? Like stereotype is a lot less these days because so many more people are vegan and a lot of them aren't like vocal activists, hardcore activists. So I think that job is kind of done. But to get you on there and to, you know, run your arguments and things like that, I think I would be fucking loving to see that. And if I could make that happen, I'll be patting on myself on the back for a long time.
Ja, dafür würde ich um 4 Uhr nachts aufstehen, um mir den Kampf anzusehen. Mit einer Tüte Chips hier, Junge.
Alright, so that'd be cool. Then, bro, is there anything else you want to mention to the people? You know, anything else on your mind lately? Anything else you feel like sharing?
Not really, not that I can think of.
Cool, man. Well, I just got one more little thing for you. So, I plan to be doing more streams, and I just wondered if you got any like tips from experience, you know, that maybe I haven't already read or seen a YouTube video on.
Yeah, you should use Streamlabs for the demos. YouTube
what,
takes,
sorry?
I think, 30% Streamlabs.
For donors, you said.
Yeah, YouTube takes like a 30% cut. With Streamlabs, you keep everything, so it's better to use Streamlabs. And you can have notifications too. So people who like donate enough money, like, you know, $3, $5, you can set it at whatever you want. It'll read it out automatically.
I've seen that. I was wondering how you did that. So that was a Streamlabs move, bro. I appreciate it. I'll probably take that on and figure out how to make that all work. So wicked, dude. Well, in that case, then I think we're done. And I just want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your knowledge, and just doing a mad job, dude, at getting the vegan message out there. You're one of the biggest vegan YouTubers ever, both in amount of followers and also mass. You're doing a good job,
Thanks.
man. A really, really good job. And I've learned so much from you. I'm very grateful for all the content you put out there. It's helped me evolve. It's helped a lot of people evolve, helped evolve the movement. So fantastic efforts, brother. I hope you are very proud of yourself. And onwards and upwards, bro. I look forward to seeing everything else that you got coming for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Wicked, man. All right, well, I'm not going to stick around on the chat or nothing, so I'm just going to end the stream. And you said you are going to stream later, right, dude?
Yeah, in like 30 minutes, an hour, something like that.
30
Gotta
minutes,
eat
an hour.
first.
Okay, easy. So, yeah, then in that case, thanks for your time, brother. It was great to chat with you.
Yeah, no problem.
And thanks everybody for joining us and for all your comments, for the donations, the questions, everything like that. You're all legends. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next stream. Cool. Cheers, brother.
See ya.
Boom. We done.
All right, cool.
Thanks, man. Thanks very much. Okay. Now, here's something I want to mention to you. I hope you don't mind. I don't want to upset you or nothing, but you kind of, I wasn't going to mention it, but then you sort of brought it up. So
Is it still streaming?
Should
Are you
be.
sure? I think it's still streaming.
Der hätte da jetzt noch was geleakt, ey. Ja, der hat hier noch einen Stream vor einem Tag. Vor einem Tag 3 Stunden Stream.
Boom.
Oh mein Gott. Ja, wir sind finally durch, Leute. Finally durch den 3 Stunden Stream von denen hier. Oh Mann, oh Mann, Mann. Das wird ein nice YouTube-Video auf jeden Fall. Ja, 2 YouTube-Videos. Ja. Ja, war ziemlich cool. Aber trotzdem, obwohl das so elendslang war, ziemlich cool. Sehr, sehr originelle, gute Fragen. Sehr viele graue Bereiche durchgenommen und so. Ja, ich hoffe, es hat euch auch gefallen. Ich weiß nicht, habt ihr jetzt echt mitgelesen da, oder was? So.